Hi everyone, and welcome to this video about the schwa sound. In this video, we're going to do a couple of things. First, we're going to talk about what the schwa is and where it comes in terms of words. And we're also going to talk about what this means in terms of suffixes and word stress. And really the end game is why it's important for us when we want to decode and pronounce words and when we want to spell multisyllabic words. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the schwa is the lazy vowel. It means our mouth is barely open. We kind of just make the or the sound, and it comes in syllables that are unaccented. It is also the most common vowel in the English language, which makes this a little bit difficult when we're trying to spell words because it can be represented by any vowel. So any syllable that is not stressed can have the or the I sound, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's spelled with a U or an I. It can be spelled by any vowel or even a vowel combination. As I said before, it occurs in unaccented syllables. So if you want to watch the video on stress that is also available, that will go more in depth in terms of when we stress syllables and when we don't. But here we're going to focus on the sound that we make in unaccented syllables and how that can actually change when we start to add in suffixes. So let's take a look at what this really means. This word is banana. This is a very common example of when we use the schwa sound. So that little upside down E that you see, that's actually how we denote the schwa. So here we hear ba, you hear the sound, nan, that's the stressed syllable, right? So even though it's an A, we don't say banane or I can't even pronounce it with the short A, right? We have the sound there, banana. We're going to do this with a few more words, and you're going to hear that it's not always very much the sound. It's more of just any vowel that kind of just flows out of our mouth in that lazy kind of, I don't want to open up my mouth and say the whole sound way. So let's take a look at some more words. This word is bacon. So just say it. Where do you think you would break it into syllables? One, like that robot voice. And then where are we putting the schwa in? Do we hear and spell those vowels exactly how they are? Right? So if I say this like a robot, I say it bacon. Okay. I don't say bacon. I say bacon. And that O there sounds like the I sound. I do want to say that sometimes people pronounce words differently based on dialect, based on location. If we think about how Australians pronounce words, there's a lot more schwas at the end of words. So not everyone is going to pronounce this the same way. So just keep that in mind as we go along. Okay, the next word is about. So where are you hearing the schwa? Where are you breaking it? Right? We would say about. And that schwa is at the beginning. A lot of words that begin with that A sound make the sound, about. So here it is the sound. How about this word, placement? Right. You probably hear the mint instead of the ment. I don't say placement, I say placement, right? My mouth just kind of stays closed and I just glide through that word. So that schwa is on the second syllable there. You can see how this might be hard for both pronunciation and for spelling. If I'm a student who's just learning to read these words based on sounds and phonetics, I'm going to read placement, placement, right? And that doesn't sound natural. So students will generally be like, oh, placement, right? Because it's easier to say and they know that word. When they go to spell words, though, think about bacon. If they know about open syllables, they can probably do that. Kin, in, right? There's going to be some problems there. So we really do want students to understand the schwa sound and to know that it can be represented by any vowel, both when we're reading to use that flexibly and when we're spelling to look through it and make sure that it's looking like it should.